Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, myself, Sumit Ahuja. I have also total 6 years of IT experience. Um, all in MuleSoft, I'm certified MuleSoft developer integration platform architect. Recently, being selected as a MuleSoft mentor, like one of the coaching MuleSoft leader, and working for Wipro as a technical lead. I hope you will enjoy the session. Yeah, thanks for joining the call.
Yes, totally, indeed. And as people are also mentioning, Abhishek has mentioned, appreciate the effort of Jitendra. Jitendra, this is not a special thanks for just coming and delivering the session, but in spite of having injury, you're coming and delivering it for us. It's a good honor, a great honor, in fact, and all for all of us. I think it's needless to say, but you are an inspiration to all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, to other people, I just want to say that you have some leave button. Even if you want to leave the session, please do not leave it all. Just leave it for yourself if you want to leave it in between the session for any specific reason. So don't make it leave it to all, and just stay with us. Put your questions in a question and answer section. Once Jitendra takes pauses, we'll be coming and we'll visit your questions. That's what the pattern is. And apart from that, if there is any issue, you can personally DM to the meetup leads. Uh, and yeah, let's I think move ahead, and without wasting time, I think I'll hand it over to Jitendra. Jitendra, it's over to you now.
So, Priya, are
Sure.
we having any quiz?
Yes, QC is there.
Yes, yes, yes,
QC
yes,
is
Yes.
there, of course.
absolutely.
Next people will stay now till the end of the session. So there is a trivia quiz, right? So you
Yes,
can win a lot of meals of training opportunities you will have.
yes,
So
yes,
we
yes,
stay in the call till the end. So yeah. So and also about feedback, I think we'll talk later. Yeah.
yes, yes, we'll
So I've
talk later.
stopped sharing, Jitendra, so probably you can share the screen and start, I believe. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Supriya. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, Sumit. Yeah. So, like, I will start with my session. So, I will just share my screen. Okay. Just let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, it's
Yep,
visible.
we can.
Okay. So, guys, my name is Jitendra Bafna, and I'm a MuleSoft ambassador and Surat and Nasik meetup leader. And I have overall more than 13 plus years of experience in the APIs and the integration technology. And like, I am a MuleSoft certified integration architect and the platform architect. And mostly, like, I was working as a principal architect for one of the organization, where I was working mostly on like digital transformation and like MuleSoft migration projects. Yeah, so that is all about me. So so in today's session we're going to discuss about a new feature which was introduced by MuleSoft, that is anypoint data graph basically. So before like moving into data graph, we need to understand QL. Then we will see what is anypoint data graph. In anypoint data graph, we will going to see what are the advantage of using anypoint data graph, what are the different authentication mechanisms supported by anypoint data graph. We will also see three use cases where we can make use of anypoint data graph. Then finally, there will be trivia cues. Okay, so what is a GraphQL? So basically, GraphQL is nothing. It's a query language for your REST API. Initially, like it was developed by a Facebook basically in 2012, and finally it is released as an open source in 2015. Okay, so with GraphQL, what you can do, you can send the query to your API basically, and you can fetch the data. You can fetch the required data. So simply like what happens, like you may have a n number of application, you may have a n number of consumer. So like you have one API which was like exist and like which was returning like 100 field or 200 fields, right? But there might be some consumer who doesn't require all the field. He required only one field. There are some other consumer who require 10 field. There are some other consumer who may require 20 fields, right? In that case, a GraphQL is very useful, a very handy, because you can send the query to your API using GraphQL, and you can say I just want these two fields, like I want order status and I want order ID. So you will just retry only those two fields. So what advantage here you are getting? So you are reducing the network congestion, right? You are not overloading your network basically. if your response is like 100 kb and if you are responding with 1 kb, right, it will definitely reduce the network latency or network overhead, or network congestion basically. So that is very important. So basically, if you know, the REST APIs are very powerful and follow the resource oriented and well structured approach, right? As you know, like when we talk about the REST API, so it always follow a resource based approach. So basically we define the resources in the URL. So like orders is my resources, order ID is my URI parameter. So this is the approach which followed by the REST API. But it become very like it become bit complex, like it become bit it become bit difficult to face the data within the single request when your data is complex. I will tell the example. If you want to fetch a data from multiple endpoints, right, so and then finally you aggregate those data and send to the client, right? So it for that you have to write some business logic, like you have to write the process API where you can do the choreography of multi or like orchestration of multiple calls. You get the response, you aggregate that, and then finally send to the consumer. So it is a time consuming process. So sometimes there might be possibility you have to call the 10 APIs, 10 downstream APIs basically, right? And to have like it happens like you may have to collect the data from different systems. So you will call different APIs, like different system APIs, collect the data, aggregate it. So this is whole maintenance become more tedious, like development also become more tedious basically, right? So to avoid those kind of thing, we can make use of a GraphQL. So basically GraphQL is also capable of orchestrating the call and aggregate the data and send back to the consumer. So these are the things you can do with a GraphQL language basically. Okay, I will go to next slide. So MuleSoft has come up with a concept called Anypoint Data Graph. So recently I think MuleSoft has released Anypoint Data Graph in last month. So it's a part of your Anypoint platform. So basically it allow to unify a multiple APIs into a single data service. So basically like you may in your environment you may have a n number of APIs, right? So what you can do with Anypoint Data Graph, you can unify all the APIs into a single data service. It means it will give a single endpoint through which you can communicate with a multiple API. So it will give a single GraphQL endpoint through which you can communicate with your multiple APIs basically. Okay. So with Anypoint Data Graph, you can reuse the multiple API in a single request. So basically with Anypoint Data Graph, you can call a multiple APIs into a single request. You send a single query language to your data graph, like to call the multiple APIs. The data graph will call the multiple APIs. It will aggregate the data and it will send back to you. So you don't have to write any business logic, any orchestration of call, or any choreography of call. It has been taken care by Anypoint Data Graph basically. So like it's like bit simpler for enterprise architect, like who can easily unify the APIs into one single service, all without writing code. So you don't have to write any separate process layer or experience layer. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do the choreography of the call. You don't have to do the orchestration of call. It will be taken care by your Anypoint Data Graph without writing a single line of code. And now developer can consume a multiple API from a data service in a single GraphQL request. So now developer has to just call that GraphQL endpoint to fetch the data from the multiple services, to fetch the data from the multiple APIs. Okay, any question till now on GraphQL or Anypoint Data Graph?
I think so far, no questions, Jitendra. They look like.
Okay, okay. So I think the concept is clear. Like what are the advantages? So one of the advantage, so you can request the data which you want, no more or no less. Basically, you can request what data you want. That is the one of the advantage. No more or no less, basically, right? The second thing, like you don't have to do the orchestration or choreography of the call. It will be taken care by your Anypoint Data Graph. Aggregation, you don't have to do that. Also sorting of data, you don't have to do that. It can be taken care by the Anypoint Data Graph. The way in which you order the data, in same way you get the response back. Okay, so we will see all this in the demonstration. So what is Anypoint Data Graph? As I mentioned, like you can unify a multiple APIs into a single data service. So basically you will have a single GraphQL endpoint. You send the request to that GraphQL endpoint. That GraphQL the multiple downstream API and get the response and like it do the aggregation and send the response back to the consumer. So you don't have to write a single line of code. Okay, consume many API in the single request. So basically you can send the query. In that query you can define, I want to fetch the data from this service, this service, this service, right? You can see like that. Then you send that query to a data graph. Data graph will auto call the multiple service and fetch the data and send back those data to the consumer again. Reach new level of productivity. So basically, like with any point data graph, you can innovate faster. Basically, like you can innovate bit faster, like because you don't have to write any process layer or any experience layer, for or orchestrating or choreography of the call basically. So like and also you can deploy this data service as a SaaS application, like software as a service. I will tell one more thing, like data graph is the managed service, so you don't have to worry about underlying infrastructure or hardware or SLAs or all those things. So there are some restrictions we will going to discuss in upcoming slides, but you don't have to worry about all those things. So it's a managed service, it's a serverless service where like you don't have to worry about underlying hardware or whatever. You don't have to worry about the maintenance, SLAs and all those kind of thing. Okay, it's kind of like API manager. So it's similar kind of service basically. So API manager is also managed service, whereas Anypoint Data Graph is also a managed service. So there are some advantages. So unify the multiple API into single data service. With Anypoint Data Graph, you can serve the data from multiple underlying APIs within a single request without writing any code. Okay, so you can easily consume the data from multiple APIs using a single request. Developer doesn't have to write any code to pass the data from multiple APIs. So as I mentioned, if you are a developer, it will reduce lot of overhead from your end. Basically, like you don't have to do all these things, like you don't have to do the aggregation of data. See, it's aggregation of data is bit one of the complex thing. Like sometime when you do the data aggregation, like if your payload is very heavy and all those things, so you use lot of your in memory, right? So you don't have to worry about all this thing. It will be taken care by the Anypoint Data Graph basically. So Anypoint Data Graph is again a managed service, so no maintenance or patching required. So it will automatically do the patching. Request the data you want, no more or no less. So you can just request the data. Like if you want two fields, you can just send the query with two fields. I want these two fields from the accounts API, like that. So there might be some consumer, he will say I want just three fields from accounts API, four fields from the transaction API. So like that. Okay, so it reduced the development and lot of maintenance efforts basically. And Anypoint Data Graph is a managed service and no need to worry about any underlying infrastructure and the maintenance. And okay, any
So
question?
the bottom line, Jitendra, it's giving you another dimension to the consumption of APIs, right?
Correct. So basically, like if you see, like so like most of the time, if you see, like we use like process layer, right? And we use the experience layer. So why we use the process layer? For writing the business logic. And apart from that, like if you want to do the orchestration of the call, or if you do want to aggregation of the data, right? So you can do it in the process layer basically. Correct. And why we write the experience layer? So like different channel can request whatever data they want. Like mobile application doesn't require 10 fields, right? It may require 3 or 4 fields. There is a web application, it may require 20 fields, right? So in that case, you write two different API, one web application API, one mobile application API. With this Anypoint Data Graph, you can reduce all those things basically, right? So any question? No question.
No question so far. No.
So like monitor and authentication. So it like Anypoint Data Graph with is come up with some more other features, like you can trace the request. So it provide a logging capability also. Apart from that, you can trace the end-to-end request. So basically you can tell, like sometime what happened, as I mentioned, with Anypoint Data Graph, you can call a multiple API within the single request. So you can trace sometime, and sometime what happens, like the request may time out, like so while calling multiple APIs, so one of the API is not responding well, and because of that your request is timeout. So you can trace that, like which of that API is not giving the proper response, like which is not meeting the proper SLAs. So those kind of things can be traced. Those kind of features provided by the Anypoint Data Graph, so you can measure the API performance basically. Okay, so it within the similar single UI, it is possible to trace the query response time in the logs, ensuring to measure the performance of the query or the API request and meet the expected SLAs basically. So you can just check like what is the response time for that particular API. So you can trace that complete, and like if we have a three request, if we are calling the three APIs within the same request, you can you can visualize like how many time taken by first API, how many time taken by second API call, how many time taken by the third API call. So and what is the total time taken by all the three API calls. So those kind of things can be visible in this tracing basically. Then it comes to authentication mechanism. So basically now data graph will also like call some underlying API. So might be you have some API which are already running in a cloud hub basically, right? Correct. So you might be having the API which is already running in the cloud hub. So now when you enable a anypoint data graph on the top of your cloud hub API, so like there might be possibility your cloud hub API might be supporting some kind of authentication mechanism. Correct. So for now, so like data graph only support a client ID enforcement via headers, client ID enforcement via query parameters, basic authentication, and you can add some custom header or query params basically. So for downstream API, uh, like for downstream for anypoint data graph can send the downstream API request, and the supporting authentication mechanism are these four basically. These are the four mechanism. It doesn't support OAuth or anything like that. Right now it's just supporting your underlying API must be having this security policy. If you are putting JWT validation policy or any other policy, it will not work because it doesn't support. Okay, so right now it is not supporting, but maybe in future, but right now not. There are some limitation. So like anypoint data graphs like support only REST API which is designed or which is implemented with RAML or open API specification. Like like the anypoint data graph can call the downstream API only with a get method. It doesn't support post, it doesn't support put, it doesn't support delete, it doesn't support patch. So basically in one unified schema you can add up to 250 different application or different APIs basically. Okay, so not more than that, up to like 60,000 fields per unified schema. So like consider if you have 250 APIs, and those 250 APIs should not, like if you add all the fields from those 250 API, it should not exceed 16,000 basically. Okay, so now anypoint data graph restrict downstream REST API calls to like up to 150 concurrent or parallel call per unified schema. So you can have up to 150 concurrent call, not more than that basically. Okay, so if you're getting like if your 155 call is in progress, if somebody send 151 request, it will time out. It will not time, it will say like quota exceeded, or like it kind of rate limiting basically. Then the 5-second timeout per call. Okay, so what does this mean? So if you are calling the multiple APIs, or if you are sending the query, or if you are sending query to the anypoint data graph, so that query may contain the 3 APIs call. So timeout for each API call is 5 seconds. Okay, but the overall like timeout for query is 30 seconds basically. And in one query you can select up to 100 fields, up maximum of 100 selected field. So total timeout for the query is 30 seconds. Within that query you can have a multiple API call. Each API call should not exceed the timeout, or should not exceed the 5 seconds of the timeout basically per call. So that is the some restriction, and you can call this as a limitations, whatever. So but yeah, you need to take care of all those things. If you have an underlying API which is responding in 10 seconds or 15 seconds, in this case the graph or anypoint data graph will not work. So you have to ensure that your each and every API is responding within less than 5 seconds, and overall query get executed within less than 30 seconds or equal to or less than 30 seconds, not more than that. Okay, any question?
Suppose we have a requirement wherein one call is get. Okay, there we can use data graph, because as you mentioned that this can be only used for the get queries. That makes sense.
Yes,
But
correct.
suppose if we have one requirement, one business requirement wherein other calls are also important, post, put, or something like that. So just
Mhm.
for the get, we can implement this, and post and put also can be in the same API of Mule, and that can be exposed differently Is it
Yeah,
possible?
see, it's fine. See, you can have a API with get and post method. Okay,
Haha.
so you can have it in API, but when you will call like from endpoint data graph, right? It should be get method. It will only like let consider you define a RAML. Okay, which contain get, post, and put method. When you will add into the unified schema, right? It will just consider only get method. It will not pick the post and put method.
Understand.
Or
Understand.
yeah, okay. So
But there is one more question, Jitendra. Like when you mention like we have to provide all the downstream API details, right? When we'll start GraphQL in the data graph. So these
yes.
downstreams APIs must be a part of any point platform, or we can configure an external API side.
I will come on that. So while demo, I will explain that. Okay. So don't
All
worry
right.
about that. I will explain that. The
Okay.
only the
Okay.
prerequisite that one of the prerequisite is that like there should be RAML or Open API specification. It should be there. Okay. So, like if you have some external APIs, right? So if you want to call third party APIs within non-MuleSoft APIs, like within any point data graph, you can do that. That is not an issue. But you have to ensure that there is a RAML defined for that API
All right.
basically.
Just the way we have the option for endpoint monitoring in the drop down, select your
Correct,
resource.
correct, correct. So you can definitely call the non-MuleSoft API. Okay, I will show you how can you do that. But the prerequisite is that you should have a
Yep.
AnyPoint RAML or like Open API specification is defined for that particular API, and that is published to AnyPoint Exchange. That is the requirement.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Got it. Yeah.
okay. So let me go to next slide. So we will let discuss the one of the use cases. So basically let consider we will like we will going to discuss about open banking API. So basically we have a account transaction and the balance detail in that particular API. Okay, so I have one requirement. So basically let consider scenario, you have a REST API that return 10 fields in the response, but web application require only 7 fields, whereas mobile application require only 4 fields. In such cases, a data graph is one of the most optimal option where client can pass whatever data required as an input request, and data graph will return a required field to web application and the mobile application. So what does this mean? So I have a different consumer. One is the mobile application and one is the web application as a consumer, right? But as you know, like web application may require this is the a real scenario where web application require more fields as compared to mobile application, and mobile application require lesser field. So what advantage here we will get, like the network congestion will be lesser, right, for mobile application. So let consider web application can send a query to data graph saying I want this particular 10 fields in this particular order, whereas mobile application can say I want this 4 fields in this particular order. So those kind of things can be done with any point data graph. Okay. Okay, so let consider I have this anypoint data graph, and this REST API is my system API which contain account balance and the transactions endpoint. Okay, so mobile application can send this query. So basically it requesting I want ID, first name, last name, and the mobile, whereas account web application can request this particular query, basically account ID, first name, last name, mobile name, whatever, like whatever fields it required, and in the order in which it required the fields, he can mention in that particular query. Like in select, you mentioned, right? Select first name and the last name from customer table, like that, so you are sending the fields basically. And like output for mobile application is with 4 fields, and the output for web application with more fields basically. Okay, so let me show that. So first thing, let me tell you what are the things I have done right now. So basically I will go to design center. So my API is already exposed to my design center and Anypoint Exchange. Okay. So basically, I have this APIs basically like so I have this API which have some multiple endpoints: account ID, balances, transaction ID, and some customer data. So I have this particular some endpoints with this particular API, and now what happened? So I have deployed that particular application, that system API, in my runtime manager. So here my open banking data graph, which is enabled with API auto discovery. So I have already instance available. in API manager also, and there is a no authentication sub has been enabled on this particular API. So this is active, right? So I have enabled the API auto discovery for that. Okay. So let me show you. This is my open banking API. So where like I can fetch all the customer, all the account detail for that particular customer. I can send the request. I got this account. So there are two accounts. And if I want to fetch the account on the basis of ID, so I can just say one account. Okay, if I want to fetch a balances for that particular account, so I can fetch the balances. So I got the balance also. If I want to fetch a transactions, I can fetch a transactions for that account. So I got the transactions also. So now, but the problem is that I don't want all the fields for accounts. I want few fields which we have discussed, right? So I don't want all the fields for that particular account. For like for mobile application and for other, see, different consumer want different fields basically. Like mobile application just require first fold field, and like web application may require all the fields. So how can we do that? So for that, MuleSoft has introduced a new feature called data graph. So you can see that in your any point you can get, if you create a new trial account, you can get that feature. So this is how the GUI looks like, and I can say add API. Okay, so here it will list down all the APIs which is available in your AnyPoint exchange. So right now I want to work with open banking API. Next step, I will say configure URL. So here you will select what version of assets you need to expose, and you can say conform selection. I will take the latest version. Okay, here somebody asked me like how can we do that. For non-MuleSoft application, you can simply say add new URL basically, and provide the URL like base URL for that particular API. Sumit, this is where you can do that. Okay, so you can provide the where your implementation exists, that particular base URL.
All right, but you have selected a different API from Exchange, but anyway, we can add a new URL
No, no,
over here.
yeah. So basically, like right now, I will be using the runtime manager API. So that's why I will say get the existing URL from AnyPoint platform. Okay, and I will use this open banking. This is my implementation URL in runtime manager. I
Mhm.
will say edit URL and control V. Okay,
But it's a
if you,
good practice to have a new RAML for the non-Microsoft API, right?
yeah, it's not. You have to be have like it is good to have it, right? It is
Okay.
always good to have it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Got it.
save. I will just save it. Then I will say provide authentication. So right now for my downstream API, no authentication has been supported. It is publicly available. So I will use no auth. Otherwise, you can use basic authentication like client ID and the customer headers, whatever. So right now I don't have any authentication setup. I can simply click on previous schema. So here it will list down all the methods. So in my RAML, I have an account, fetch the accounts by ID, like fetch the balance by account ID, fetch the accounts by ID, and it will show what are the different schemas. Like these are the different schemas defined in my RAML. So it will list down everything. So it create a graph basically, graph of all your fields basically and all your methods. Then I can say next edit schema, and I will keep if you want to like invisible any method, right? So like Supriya, you asked me like what will happen if there's a put and post method, right? It will not list down here. It will just like pick the method with a get method, like from RAML. So you can see that like it only pick the get method. If you want to even hide some of the method, you can simply click hidden. You can do that, but for now I will keep everything open, and you can say add unified schema, and you can say proceed to unified. It's very simple. I haven't written a single line of code, and it will just say updating. It take 2-3 minutes to deploy your this unified schema or basically to create the unified schema. I can take any question if anybody have any question.
Questions as of now.
Okay, good. So I'm waiting for my application to get or my unified schema to get deployed. So it takes some, not more time, like it takes 1 to 2 or 3 minutes. So you will see up to date here. Once you see the status as a up to date, it means it has been successfully deployed. So like you should know how to write a query language, a graph query language. So that's very important. It's not that complex. It's very simple. Okay, it's updated. Now you can go to list of APIs added, so you can see it here, and you can see it provide a user interface where you can just write your queries. So you can say run query. Okay, so here you can see like your client ID and the client secret, and this is your GraphQL endpoint. You can see that. So this is the endpoint, like a GraphQL endpoint, basically. So let me. So basically, I want to fetch accounts. Okay, in accounts, the customer ID is my query parameters, and then I will give a curly bracket. I have to fetch ID, I have to fetch first name, I have to fetch last name, then I will send the request. We get like ID, first name, and the last name. But I want to fetch more detail, address, company, account type, website. Now send the request. We get more data. So basically with this anypoint data graph, you can request the data whatever you want basically. And also I mentioned it automatically do sorting. So basically the order in which you request your data, you get the response back in that particular order. I don't want company here. I want company at the end basically. So you can simply do that. Company. Okay. You can do that. If you want to test it from Postman, so you can simply copy this URL. You can simply go to Postman. So this will be the post method because we will pass a body. Then you have to add a header parameter. So you have to add a client ID, client. By default, a GraphQL is enabled with client ID enforcement policy. So apart from that, you cannot apply any other policy. This is a rate limiting also. You can apply rate limiting. This is the client ID and client secret. You can go to your body. You can select GraphQL and simply I can copy this particular query. You can send the request. So you got the response properly, right? Any question before I move on to a second use case?
Yeah, one question, Jitendra. So, what if this data type, the schema, everything, what is in the RAML is in XML?
Where can you repeat once again?
Oh, see,
So
for I think what I can see is the JSON is the data type, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
structure
you
you have
can
used, right?
generally I will tell you it's better to define a data types like example and that is also works. Okay, so generally I will always prefer to define the data type instead of examples in JSON or XML format. You can define the data type also, but it automatic that, yeah, you are right. So basically data type is nothing, it's a whatever example like input like output response and all those things, response and everything, like you are
Hmm.
right.
Okay, okay. I think
There's
there
one
is
question from
there's one
Pradeep.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Sumit.
So he's saying customer ID, it seems string data type will support integer type in the unified schema or any
Yeah,
restrictions.
no, Pradeep. It depend what kind of data type you have defined in your YAML. Okay, there is a no restriction. You can define this as an integer also. But in my case, I defined this as a string. So that's why I have to pass this as a string. If you are defining it as a string, you have to pass that as a string. Okay, otherwise it will fail. So you can define one if you have defined the customer ID as an integer in your YAML, then you have to pass that as a integer or number basically. Okay. Okay. So let me go with a second use case. The second use case is bit more interesting. Basically, let consider a scenario where you have to call a multiple REST APIs endpoint. Like want to fetch a data from multiple REST API, and each API will respond with JSON payload, and GraphQL will aggregate all the responses and send back the required data to client. So let me show you. So basically, I have one REST API which have account endpoint, balance endpoint, the transaction endpoint. So basically, there's a client who want to fetch account detail, respective balance, and respective transactions, right? So, but in general, what we will do if there is a no anypoint data graph, in that case, we will write a process API which will do the orchestration of call, which will call accounts API, accounts endpoint, which will call balance endpoint, which will call transaction endpoint. It will aggregate the response from the accounts balance and the transaction. Then it will send to the experience layer. From experience layer, it will go to the like caller or consumer basically. So that is all. With any point data graph, like you can simply create a wrapper on the top of your accounts API. Like, okay, you just add this account API into unified schema, right? Into your unified schema of any point data graph. And you can simply pass the query where you can say, I want to fetch data from account balance and transaction. Okay, so like you don't have to, you have to just pass a right query. Everything will be, all the aggregation of data, like calling the orchestration of call will be done by any point data graph. Let me show that also. So right now, so whatever things I have exposed, right? So like which contain, like currently if you see, let me go to my data graph. So this is my API. If you see my this API, this particular API contain the endpoints for transactions, like fetch the transaction accounts, account ID, everything, right? So this already contains. So what we will do, we don't have to do anything. We have to pass a write query basically. So let me go back to that. Okay. Let me go to data graph. List of APIs added. Run a query. I can remove this query. Also provide a good intelligence. So I can say account by account ID. So I have to pass account ID, which is integer again. So account ID is 1. I want to fetch a first name from account ID, last name, then address, then city. Not city is not there. So I can say website. Now I want to fetch a balance, account balance by account ID. So it also take one URI parameter. So I can pass 1. I can say balance type and amount. And third, I want to fetch a relative transactions by account ID. So what you want from transactions, you can pass the field. So I want a description, transaction ID, amount. That's it. I will run the query. I got all this data. See, so you, like, if you see, like, I haven't done the multiple calls, right? So I just passed this single query. So with this single query, I get, like, it automatically done the orchestration of the call, choreography of the call, and it fetched the data basically. So you can see, I can see the account details, I can see the balance detail, and I can see the transaction detail. But this name doesn't looks good, right? So what you can do, you can add the LIS. You can say accounts. You can say balances, and you can say transactions. And now you can run it. So you get a better name here, so you can pass this as a alias. So like, now the question, like, people may ask, like, how customer will come to know I want this fields, like what kind of query. So basically it's your responsibility to provide the query to the customer. So what query they can pass, like, even like you can create a raml in such a way, you can create one more raml which can expose something about GraphQL basically. Like you can say these are the different queries you can pass basically. You have to note somewhere basically, right, into a raml.
Jitendra, one question here. If you can go on the schema back. So on the left hand side, that the query that we have, so these account balances and transactions are a part of one API, right? As of now,
No, they are the different endpoints, but they are part of single API basically.
single API. But like if we have different APIs, so will it make a difference?
No, no, I will come on the third demo is on that only. Okay, it
All right,
doesn't
sir.
make more difference. Like I have a third. Then in that case, we have to set the relationship between
Exactly.
multiple API, like foreign key, primary key, and all those things. So
Yes,
I
yes,
will.
yes.
So
Yes.
so let me like we are going with like simpler to the like a bit complex use case. So third
Mhm.
use case will be on that. Like we will set up the relationship between customer and the accounts basically. We will
All
see
right.
that demo.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
So yeah, so now we will see trace a query. So like there's a feature I told you, like there's a feature called trace a query. So I will run this query again. So it provide like if you see we have a three calls. It called the account endpoint, it called the transaction endpoint. So if you see, it happens in the parallel basically. So like people may ask like 30 milliseconds timeout is so 30 seconds is 30-second timeout for query is so less, but it does a call in parallel basically. If you can see, the account has been started at around 1 millisecond, but in middle it also called the transaction and the balances basically, right? So it happens in the parallel, and you can see the whole request got completed at around between like 75 to 81 millisecond, like around like so it haven't took more time. So if you see, accounts API took around 46 millisecond, but transaction API took around 56 millisecond, and the balance API took around 58 milliseconds basically, right? But this everything happen in the parallel basically, it doesn't happen in the sequential. So that's why 30-second timeout is good for GraphQL query basically, correct? So but if you see, each call have a 5-second timeout, but overall query have a 30-second timeout. Okay, any question on this? Because this happens in the parallel basically. If you see, it takes some time for parsing of the query, it check whether the query is correct or wrong, then it validate it, then it do the orchestration of the call. Here you can see it does orchestration of the call basically, and then finally it do the aggregation of data and send response back to us. So it take less than 80 milliseconds, right? So this is good enough. Like, any question? Okay.
I think it's fine. No questions with that.
So now that I will have some third API. So let me show you. Let me remove this particular API right now. Just I want to. If you don't have any question, I will just delete this API. Okay. So I have a two different API in my AnyPoint in Design Center. So I have a customer API and the accounts API. The accounts API doesn't give a customer information. So I got one requirement from one of the customer, like I want account detail as well as the customer detail, a relative customer detail, like that particular accounts belongs to which customer. So I want that customer details also. They are altogether two different APIs basically. Right. So now how can I fetch like customer detail for that accounts detail? Right. So generally what he will do, he will do the create a process layer where like you fetch all the accounts, and one by one on the basis of customer. So account ID, like let me consider account. In accounts we have account ID which is a primary key, and the customer ID which is a foreign key. In customer we have a customer ID that is the primary key. So in accounts, so generally you have done the call, like the customer has sent the request to the accounts API to fetch all the accounts, right? In that case what will happen, the customer will fetch all the accounts, then one by one on the basis of customer ID it will fetch the customer details, then it will aggregate the customer detail, then send that response back to the consumer, right? So this is a tedious process. Like this will take a lot of time. We have to define or business logic, orchestration of the calls, like in the process layer, right? So in that case the anypoint data graph is very handy. So you don't have to do anything, just you have to set up the relationship between your customer API and the accounts API, and rest of the thing will be taken care by the anypoint data graph. Let me show that. So I have this two API which contain two methods. One is the customers, and it's to fetch all the customer and fetch the single customer on the basis of customer ID. Okay, so there are two methods. And like let me go back to design center. So same thing, like in accounts also I have a two method, fetch all the accounts and fetch a single accounts on the basis of account ID. That's simple. Okay, so these are thing. Let me go back to my so I have just enabled the API auto discovery for these two APIs basically. I deployed the two instance, one is the customer API and one is the account API into my runtime manager. So you can see the API customer API and accounts API. Then I can go to runtime manager. So these are the two different API, account data graph app and the customer data graph app. So let me show you. So this is my API, accounts API. The accounts. Let me fetch all the accounts. So I fetch all the accounts. Let me fetch, but this doesn't contain a customer detail, but it contain a customer ID basically, which is the foreign key in this accounts API. Then three, I can fetch a single account. Same way, let me fetch a customer details. I got a customer detail. If I want to fetch a single customer detail, I want to like, now I want for each account, I want the customer details. So like this is my customer ID. With this, I want a customer details like first name, last name, and all those things, right? So here, if you see this customer ID is one, and here also, if you see the customer ID is one. So this is the foreign key in the accounts API. So let me start. So I will go to my data graph. Okay. So I will say add API. I will say set custom. First, we will add the customer API. Yeah, conform selection. Then I want to add the URL of your implementation of the customer API. Simply, you can just edit URL and just say save. Provide authentication. I don't have any authentication setup. So previous schema. So you can see the previous schema. You just say edit. Now you have to tell customer ID is the foreign key. How can you do that? So here you can do that, and you can say enable collaboration, and you should have a one method through which you can fetch the single customer also. So as I mentioned, I have one method where you can fetch the data on the basis of customer ID. Say next. Here you can select your primary key. Customer ID is my primary key. I can say conform. Okay. So once it is conform, like you don't have to do anything, you can say add to unified schema, then say proceed to unified schema. So let's wait while it is adding. It's updating. So you should have a one method which like uniquely which can fetch a customer details also, because what will happen, so when you request for all the accounts, right? So there should be one method like no account, like when you will fetch all the accounts, so it will going to call a customer like for that particular, it will going to fetch the customer detail for that particular accounts, right? In that case, the to fetch the single account, right? That is the very important basically. So make sure you should have one that kind of method available. I'm waiting for my application to get deployed. This time, customer. Okay. So I want to fetch all the customer first name. I want to fetch a last name. Let me run a query. So I got a customer, all the customer first name and the last name. Even I can fetch it. I can fetch customer ID. Got that. Okay. So I got all this thing. So now what I have to do, I have to go back to data graph. So have you seen like I have enabled the collaboration where I mentioned like my customer ID is a primary key. If you click on this particular API, if you see the schema, like customer schema, it will say this like customer is a prime customer ID is the primary key basically, right? You can see that it has marked this customer ID as a primary key. The next thing, so I let me go back. So what I will do, I will add other API. This is accounts API. I will say configure URL, conform selection. I will use all by default. Then I can copy this URL. Then I can edit URL. So I can provide my implementation URL here. I can save it. Save provide. I don't have any authentication for my downstream API. I will just leave it blank. You have to edit schema. Yeah, I have two methods. Here you can say accounts, enable collaboration, accounts by account ID. Next, you can say account ID is my primary key, confirm. Apart from that, there's a one more thing you need to do. You have to link that. You have to link the account with customer. So that is very important part, customer. And here you have to select a foreign key. So what is the foreign key in my accounts? It's a customer ID. And always don't forget to click on this save changes. Okay, sometimes what we do, simply add it to unified schema and we keep on searching like what happened, why. So what we are doing here, we are linking the accounts and the customers. So we are defining the relationship between accounts and the customer. So customer ID is the foreign is sorry, primary key in the customers API, and where is the customer ID is the foreign key in the accounts API. I will just say save changes, and I can say add to unified schema, proceed to unified schema. So now it will add the accounts. So let's wait while it's adding to accounts. Till that, if you have any question. So Sandeep, like I'm not aware of like how much that cost. Yeah, definitely it's not comes free. Like there will be cost for that. So for that you need to connect with MuleSoft sales team for getting the cost and subscription. Like so basically it's a managed service. So there will be fixed cost for that. But how much it cost, I don't know. Like you need to connect with MuleSoft sales people. I'm waiting for my application to get deployed. Just give me a second. I'm waiting. So let me go to
So I think
question.
Jitendra, there is one more question. Is the GraphQL connector still supported? Sandeep is asking.
So like right now, like you have to use the HTTP request basically, HTTP requester connector basically, right? So right now I don't think there's any GraphQL is there. So you can use the HTTP request connector. I don't like why we require it. I don't know, but we have a HTTP request connector, so you can make use of that to request to the GraphQL basically. So let me go back to run query and let me check. So here I will remove this. Accounts is coming. Then I want to fetch a first name, account ID, and account type. We got it. So right, so we got the account details, but I want relative customer details, so I can say customers. Within customers, what you want? I want first name, I want last name, I want age. Send it. You get the customer details. So for what, like for account ID 123, the customer detail is this. For account ID 124, the customer detail is this. Like, you got that. So let me, like, so that is how you can pass the query. You can see these accounts. So if you see in account, the customer ID is the foreign key, and like while fetching the detail, so it may fetch the customer ID also, and that it passed that customer ID to the customer's API and fetch retrieve the first name, last name. Let me trace the query, run it again. So here, if you see one thing, okay, in account, it has done multiple calls, like, so every time what happened, can anybody explain me like what would happen, like, so generally, like what happened, like it fetch the customer like this detail. First, it will go and fetch all the accounts detail, right? It will go and fetch all the accounts detail. I got a 5 account detail. There are 5 accounts. Then it will use customer ID from that account detail to fetch a customer details by using customer ID from that customer API. So might be it may call that customer API for 5 times. Like you can see that for here it called the customer API. This happens in parallel. Here also it called the customer API. For third account it also called the customer API. For fourth API, so like that. So generally, sometime if you have 1,000 of records, right, and you have to fetch the customer details for all the 1,000 of records, in that scenario it will fail, right? It because it may take more time, like maybe not like it, because it does call in the parallel, but at the same time you need to be do some regression or like some kind of penetration or some kind of stress or load testing, basically, to to do like to make sure like such kind of request working properly. But here it's good if you are facing a single account. Okay, I'm wrong. I've done some mistake. This is the right method. So I want to fetch a single account. So first name, account type, and also like I will just send. So I will fetch a single account here. In this case, I want to fetch a customer's details also. So which is like first name, last name, address, age, okay, maybe customer ID. In this case, it's good. Like if you are fetching one account and relative customer details, then like it will work very well, basically, right? So these are the three different use cases, like where like we can use the like anypoint data graph. Okay, so let me show you one more thing. So like right now MuleSoft has also come up with I think anypoint data graph administration. So here is the data graph administration. So you can, by default, I mentioned it's a client ID enforcement, but you can also enable the SLA based rate limiting policy. You can define those things, and you can also disable any kind of authentication mechanism on your data graph. So right now, like these are the three things supported by Anypoint Data Graph. Apart from that, I forget to show you one more thing. How to see the relation? You can go to list. If you go to account API, if you go to accounts, here you can see all the fields, like account ID is the primary key, and this customer details has been linked with this customers, right? Because we have defined the customer ID is the foreign key in this particular thing. And if you see, the customer ID is the hidden. So basically you cannot fetch. If you want to make it visible, you can do that. Okay, and if you click on this customer, it will take me to the customer schema basically. Okay, and any question on this?
There is one question from Nitin. Is it possible to hide any PI data or maybe mask it?
You can hide it, right? I've shown you, like you can hide the fields from here basically. You can hide it. Like if you go to accounts API, you can like go to this particular method and you can hide the fields from here basically. Okay, you can just hide the field, but masking is not possible for now. So, but hiding is possible. Okay, Nitin, is this your question? Masking is not possible basically. Masking you have to do from your downstream API, but if you want to hide field at a QL like query language, you can do that. From data graph, you can do that.
He's saying
Even
okay, yeah.
yeah. So let me check. So so we have discussed all these three use cases and we are complete with live demonstration. Like if anybody have any question on any point data graph, yeah, so I can take it. Otherwise, like Sandeep, Supriya, and Sumit, I have done with my session basically on any point data graph basically.
Thanks, Jitendra. It was a great session. I don't see any questions coming in, but yeah, guys, you have time. You can still post your queries in a Q&A section, and like we can take it now itself in the session. If not, otherwise we can start with the trivia.
Yeah, sure, Sumit. I'll just share my screen actually. So
Sure.
probably we can just monitor who is answering first, and we need to connect the correct email IDs as well, right? So the
Yes, yes,
same
I will
process
take
will
that part.
follow.
Yeah. Yes,
So
yes.
I'm just going to share my screen here. Give me a minute.
Yeah, guys. So Sandeep is going to post some questions, and so you have to be fast. Whoever will is going to answer the first one. Okay, so we are going to take the first name for every question, and there are three questions, right, Sandeep?
Yeah, three questions. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you the first question. So you can respond in the chat, right? So that's our plan, right, Sumit?
Yes, yes.
That's the
I,
plan. Yes.
I will.
Yeah.
I will monitor. Yeah, me and Supriya.
Okay. So this here is the first question. Guys, be ready.
Yes.
With any point data, it's a statement. With any point data graph, you can reuse multiple APIs in a single request. True or false?
People have started post. Is it possible to can you with any point data you can reuse multiple? Okay, okay. So the answer is
The answer is yes. So I think Somil Kansal.
Somil Kansal, please DM us your email ID.
Okay. So that was very fast, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Fine. Let's move to the second question, Sandeep.
okay, I'll just put a line or something. I don't know. Just need to have a break point. Okay, no problem. I'll just move on to the next question. So next question, AnyPoint data graph supports REST APIs with Rambler OS specification, up to 250 APIs per unified schema, up to 16,000 fields per unified schema, or all of the above.
So Devendra has answer B, but no, Devendra, answer is not B. Sandeep, can you confirm what is the answer? I think
Yeah, the
what.
answer is D actually. It's all of the above. I think
Yes.
Shyam
So
Kulkarni.
Sham Kulkarni has given it. So Sham, you just DM me your email ID, please.
So let's move on
Just wait, Sandeep. I'm
already.
just making let him ping the ID also.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
sure, sure.
we'll.
The first one you got it?
Yes, yes. Sawmill's ID, I have got it. Sham, can you please ping your ID ASAP?
So let me know. Then I'll move.
Please do it in DM if you want. And yeah, let's take third till that time.
Okay, so this is your last chance, guys. Be ready. Anypoint data graph restricts downstream REST APIs call to a maximum of 250, 350, or 150, or none of the above.
Okay, let's check. So Dheeraj has said C. Answer is
Yeah, answer is C only.
so Dheeraj, you please ping your ID. Sandeep, how many questions we have? Just three.
Yeah, all completed. Three of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's great. So guys, just hold on. We are trying to make you all presenters. Please come on video just for a one click.
We need to make them host, right?
Yes, we have to make them host. Please start coming on the video.
And don't leave for all, please.
Please don't
Very
do that.
important. Whenever you want to leave, just leave only for you.
Dheeraj, have you sent me your email ID? Sham Kulkarni, anything is fine. Like whatever ID you have provided, you will get the training voucher there itself. If you want to register it with some other ID, you can go ahead and do it.
Also, guys, you will be getting in feedback link. Like
Yes, that's very
fill them.
important. Yes.
Okay, please go on, Supriya.
Yeah, so the feedback link which you will get maybe post 2 hours after the session. Please fill up the feedback, and we need your suggestions that what else topics you want to see